Hi, everyone. Welcome back to your practice. Hope you're all doing well. Let's get started on our backs in our opening pose of Shavasana or Corpse Pose. And I do have a belt and a pillow just to give me some assistance throughout the practice. So if you'd like to get those things now, you can. And you can also use a chair if you need a little bit more height. Let's come onto our backs in that most comfortable way. Just easing on down into our practice. You can even use a pillow under your head if that feels good. Allow the body to fully sink into the mat. Let's take a couple rounds of breath out of the mouth. Inhale, exhale, sigh out the mouth. Feel the body relax a little bit more. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale out the mouth. And let's begin to find our Ujjayi breath. We're breathing in and out through the nose if that's open and comfortable. Concentrating the breath as if we can breathe in and out of the lower belly region. And then let's add that soft sound to our breath, as if we're fogging a mirror in front of us, even if the lips are together. And as we continue to find our Ujjayi breath, let's start to just notice how the body's doing for today. You can do a scan of the body from the top of the head down, out through the limbs, through your torso, out through the legs, the arms, and just noticing how your body's doing and noting any parts of the body that might require some modification or skipping. So always feel free to modify or skip anything that doesn't feel good. Just do what feels right, what feels good for your body today. Let's start to bend those knees and slide the feet onto the mat. Let's draw the feet together and the inner thighs together. And from here, we'll just do our little sway of the knees, of the legs right and left, getting a little twist here. You might not go as deeply as you normally can, so it might just be a few degrees in each direction as you start to warm up through the lower back. And then let's draw those knees to point back up to center, and let's separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips and allow those inner knees and inner legs to rest against each other. And then let's reach the arms up to the ceiling, drag the shoulders back down towards the mat. So we'll have the palms facing each other. And then let's take an inhale as we lift those arms up over the head. Nice big inhale, maybe a soft arch in the spine. And then as you exhale, use the core to draw the arms back down to find neutral position back in your spine. So we'll inhale, lift the arms up, but keep drawing the shoulders back into the mat. So lifting the arms up to a comfortable point. Remember, keep those shoulders happy. Maybe a little arch in the spine. And then exhale, return the spine to neutral and draw the arms back down by the sides. Let's do one more round. Deep breath in, almost like it's the first stretch you did for the morning. And then exhale, draw arms back down by the sides, and then separate the knees. Let's hug the right knee into the chest, then the left. And with one hand lightly on each knee, let's draw the right knee towards us and kind of press the left knee away very gently, and then over to the other side. So switching, moving the knees back and forth and just relaxing through the feet. And you're just drawing the legs as far in towards your body as is comfortable. And then let's draw those knees together. So the arms are almost straight, but you can have a soft bend in those elbows. And then inhale, let's separate those knees. And then exhale, draw them back together. And a few more times. And if your knees are a little sensitive, you can move your hands down to the shins or even onto the thighs or even to the outside of the legs, just gently assisting the legs as they draw back together. And then let's draw those knees to point up towards the ceiling, separate the knees a little bit of distance, and then let's start to circle those knees in opposite direction. Feeling the hips, and then change the direction of your knee circles. And then place the left foot down, extend the right leg up to the ceiling, and you can use your hands underneath the left leg for a little support if you need it. And let's start to point and flex the foot a few times, waking up the ankle. And then let's turn the foot a few times in one direction and then change the direction of that foot circle. And then inhale, press the heel up, get a nice stretch along the back of the leg, and then exhale, hug it in, even direct it a little bit towards the right shoulder. So inhale to lengthen, nice stretch along the back of the leg, mild sensation. Exhale, draw it in. And then one more time. Exhale, draw it in. And then let's place that right foot down over to the other side. Let's extend the left leg up to the ceiling. Find that easy stretch along the back of the leg. And then let's start to point and flex the foot a few times. And then let's turn the foot a few times, first in one direction, forming up the ankle. You'll even feel the muscles of the lower leg engage, and then change the direction of your foot circle. And then inhale, we'll stretch it up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, hug it in. Inhale to stretch it up. Exhale, hug it in. Maybe the left knee draws towards the left shoulder. One more time. Exhale, hug it in. And then set that left foot down onto your mat. Let's find our feet in bridge pose. We're not going to come into bridge just yet. Just going to think about warming up through the core. So find neutral position in the spine. Let's just draw the arms down by the sides. You can have the palms facing down. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, engage through the front part of the core, especially the lower belly. So right underneath the navel, engaging that area so much that you might even feel your lower back start to press down towards the mat. So we're not using just the tilt of the pelvis, but we're engaging through those core muscles to draw the lower back in, and then inhale slowly, just release. So relax through those abdominal muscles, and your pelvis will kind of automatically come back to neutral position. Take an inhale. Exhale, squeeze those frontal abdominals, especially the lower part of the belly. You can put your hand there if you need to. And then inhale, release, and relax. Let's do that 3 more times. Exhale, squeeze. So it's very subtle movement, but effective for warming up the core. Inhale, relax. And then twice more, squeeze. Relax on the inhale. And then last time, squeeze and hold just for another moment. And then relax. And then let's start to draw that right knee back in towards the chest and straighten the right leg up towards the ceiling, or even a little bit further away. If you need to draw that leg a little bit further away to find straight, go ahead and do so. And then let's draw those arms alongside the body, palms pressing down. And then on the inhale, let's slowly lower that right leg. So maybe just to the point where the knees are even with each other or less. You can bring it up higher if you need to. Neutral position in the spine. Feel that squeeze of the lower belly to keep that neutral position of the spine. And then let's lift on the exhale, the leg back up. So we want to preserve that neutral position of the spine. Inhale, squeeze the lower belly as you lower that leg, any amount. And then exhale, draw it up as you expel all the breath out. Inhale is to lower. Exhale is to lift. We'll do 2 more times, feeling the work of the hip flexor and the leg, and especially those core muscles. And then 1 more time, inhale. And then exhale, draw it back up, hug it in, and let's switch over to the other side. Left leg extends up, find straight, soft flexion in the foot so the toes draw back towards your face. Start to feel that engagement of the lower belly muscles as you inhale to lower the leg any amount. And then exhale, use the strength of the core to draw the leg back up. Inhale to lower, feel the tightening of the lower belly. Exhale, use those core muscles to draw the leg up. And then 3 more rounds. So you will feel that the work of the legs and the hip flexors will help to draw the leg back to neutral position, but really focusing on the core, the lower muscles of the belly, lower belly region to control this movement. And then let's draw the leg back up. Go ahead, bend those knees, hug those knees into the chest. Let's come into our bridge pose. So draw those feet about hip bone distance apart, knees hip bone distance apart, all 10 toes pointing forward, and the heels are about 1 hand length away from your bottom. plus or minus depending on the comfort of your needs. And remember, we want the joints to be happy. So anything that the joints don't like, feel free to modify or skip. As you're ready, let's take an inhale. Exhale, flatten the lower back into the mat. So engaging through those lower belly muscles. And then inhale, let's lift those hips up to a comfortable point. So if this is your first kind of movements for the day, then feel free to keep those hips relatively low and just start to feel the warmth of the legs. If you feel pretty warm today and you can go a little bit higher, still preserving the length of the lower back, so tailbone directs towards the back of the knees or up towards the ceiling. You can go a little bit higher, but just find what feels good for your body. And then let's slowly roll it on down. Seeing if you can get that tailbone to be the last to touch your mat. Take a breath here. And then let's hug the right knee into the chest, extend the right leg up toward the ceiling. This time we're going to draw the leg out to the right and then back to center. So inhale out to the right, any amount, maybe up to 45 degrees or less. Keep those hip bones even, and then exhale, draw it back to center. So we're still using the lower belly and the rest of the core muscles and also the inner leg. So inhale, leg out to the side, keep the shoulders grounded, and then exhale, draw it back in. So we'll do 3 more rounds on the rhythm of the breath. And we're really trying to keep the rest of the body still. So we don't want any twisting to happen in the spine. We don't want your bottom or your hip bones to lift or the shoulders to lift. See if you can stay relaxed and just focus all that energy into the leg and the lower part of the belly. Let's draw that right leg back up, hug it in. Let's switch over to the other side. So hug the left knee in, extend it up to the ceiling, easy stretch. And then let's inhale out to the left, any amount, and then exhale, draw back to center. Inhale out to the left, and exhale to center. So 3 more rounds, still getting that subtle stretch along the back of the leg. So we're flexing through the foot softly, drawing those left toes back down towards us and feeling the squeeze of the side waist get involved. Let's just do 1 more. And then draw it back to center and then release that foot down. Let's come into our second bridge pose. So draw your feet and knees, hip bone distance, all 10 toes parallel. And then feet are just about 1 hand length away from your bottom. And then let's slowly draw those hips up. Find that kind of backward tilt of the pelvis when we were flattening our lower back into the mat earlier. And then from here, maybe you're staying here, maybe you're lifting the heels off of the mat and then slowly lowering them down. So remember, if this doesn't feel great on the knees, feel free to skip the heel lifts or even modify as you see fit. We're lifting the heels and lowering, and then 1 more time, lifting and lowering. And then let's slow roll it down the spine. And then once you get there, let's hug both knees into the chest. Just give them a little squeeze. And then extend both legs up to the ceiling. Let's draw the arms alongside the body, palms down, and then slide the hands underneath your bottom for a little support to maintain that neutral position of the spine. We'll inhale to lower those 2 legs, maybe just an inch or 2, until you feel the little pull of the lower belly. And then as you exhale, engage through the core, draw the legs back up. And then on the next inhale, we'll separate those legs any amount into a V shape. And then exhale, draw them back together. So still using the core. Inhale, legs lower any amount. You can even place a bend in those knees if you need it. Exhale, draw back up. And then inhale, separate into a V. And then exhale, draw them back together. Let's do 3 more rounds. Inhale to lower any amount, just until you feel that pull. It doesn't take a lot. Exhale, draw those legs back up. Inhale, we'll separate. Exhale, draw it back together. Twice more. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale, separate. Exhale together. 1 last time. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, strong in the core. Inhale, separate. And exhale, draw back together. And then hug those knees. Relax through the feet. Maybe lift the hips off of the mat if it feels good on the lower back. Maybe a little few wiggles. And then let's place our feet down onto our mat, coming into our third and final bridge of our opening core series. So as you're ready, maybe we'll do a dynamic bridge if you like, adding the arms, but feel free to do whichever bridge pose feels good for you. Let's slowly start to flatten the lower back into the mat and then lift the hips, maybe lift the arms if that feels good. And then slowly roll everything on down. Inhale is to lift. Exhale is to lower. Controlling the descent. Twice more. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. And then one last time. Exhale, lower. And then when you get there, let's straighten those legs long onto your mat. Draw the inner legs together. Point out through the toes. Let's inhale, reach the arms up to the ceiling or over the head, maybe a little arch in the spine. And then exhale, point out through the toes up towards the ceiling. Return those arms down by the sides. Slow bend of those knees. Hug the knees into the chest. And either roll onto your right side and come up to a seated position. If you want a little bit more, maybe slowly using your hands underneath the thighs to rock up to a comfortable seated position, and then make your way into that comfortable seated position and draw the palms of the hands together at your heart center. So let's take a moment here. And if you do need to draw a pillow or a towel underneath your hips to give you a little bit more height, a little bit more ease in your seated mountain pose, then go ahead and do so. So remember to use the props in any way to make your body more comfortable. If you'd like to set an intention or a dedication for your practice, go ahead and do so at this time. And then let's open the eyes if they're closed. Namaste. Great to join you for your practice today. Let's place our hands onto the thighs. Let's start with some spinal circles. So we'll circle the upper half of the body over the lower half, making it feel good. And then the next time you come forward, and remember, if it seated in a cross-legged position doesn't feel good, sit in a way that feels good. Let's walk our hands forward just to a comfortable point and relax those shoulders down. And then we'll press into the hands. So we're pressing some weight into your sitting bones. So get a nice stretch there. And you're just going to a depth that feels comfortable to you. And then let's walk our hands back towards us. If your legs are crossed, change the crossing of the legs, and let's circle in the opposite direction. Loosening up the lower back. Just a few more times in this direction. And then the next time you come forward, same thing. Place our hands out in front. And then we'll press into the hands to push some weight back into our bottom. So energizing through the hands, think of kind of downward facing dog, hands and arms, shoulders keep moving down. And then walk your hands back towards you so you can sit up tall. Inhale, circle those arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do that just a couple more times. Maybe the eyes are closed. Start to feel a gentle warm up through the shoulders and just circling the arms, having your shape of the circle that feels good to your body. And then when you draw the hands to the heart, let's just take a moment here. And then if your eyes are closed, let's reopen the eyes. Let's circle those arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Interlace the fingers, press the palms forward, move the shoulders down. Maybe you're staying here, depending on the shoulders. Maybe you're lifting the arms up any amount. Take an inhale, keep moving the shoulders down. Then as you exhale, just a mini side bend, so nothing too deep. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, over to the other side. So one more time on each side with the breath. It's more like a gentle swing in the breeze. So not too deep of a side bend, just a gentle swing. Right and left. Let's come back to center. Draw those arms back down. Draw the hands back towards you. Press the palms together. Let's change the interlacing of the fingers. Press the palms forward, shoulders move down. Take an inhale. And then exhale, easy twist. Using the side muscles, inhale back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Back to center. One more time. And then over to the other side. Let's come back to center, release those arms. Let's extend those legs forward, just give them a little shake, and then bend those knees, almost like we're coming into boat pose, but we're not coming into boat pose. So the feet are flat onto the floor, and we'll draw those inner thighs together. So feel that gentle squeeze here. And you can draw the feet as far or as close to you as is comfortable, as long as you can sit up tall and find that the shoulders are right over the hips. We'll take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, a little bit deeper of a twist this time as you turn the shoulders and the chest, maybe a little of the ribs over to one direction. You can use that front arm to gently hug the legs, keep them together, and maybe you're adding a little turn of the head so we get a stretch through the neck. And just taking a nice easy breath here. Remember, just to a comfortable point for your twist. And then let's slowly unwind very carefully. And let's move over to the other side. Inhale to sit up tall. And then exhale just the upper half of the body. Just from the navel up, twist to the opposite direction. And maybe continue to turn the head to look behind you to a comfortable point. So still working through the core to make sure we maintain that upright position. And then let's slowly come back to center. So we're drawing the inner thighs together. We're using the strength of our legs. Let's extend one hand out to the side. Inhale, sweep the opposite arm up, and then exhale, easy side bend. So a little bit deeper than we did before, if that feels okay. Thinking about the shoulders, and then moving the shoulders down. And then let's come back to center, over to the other side. Inhale, arm lifts. Exhale, side bend. So a little bit, I find this way a little bit more work for the core. So really thinking about strengthening, engaging through those core muscles. And then let's press back up. Let's slowly start to separate those knees, draw the soles of the feet together. Remember, only doing this if it's comfortable on the knees. We'll inhale, almost like a little cow pose, a little arch in the spine, and then exhale round. So if the legs don't feel good in this position, feel free to have the legs in whatever position feels good. You can even draw them a little bit closer towards you if you want a deeper stretch, but just mild sensation. So inhale, hands are on the ankles or shins for support if your legs are in butterfly pose, and then exhale round through the spine. So just a couple more times, doing it to a point that feels good to your body. And remember, we still are activating through those core muscles, even when we're moving the spine. So when we come into that seated cow pose, feeling muscles on the back of the body work. And then when we're rounding into the spine for cat pose, you're engaging through the core, the front part of the core. Let's return to that tall way of sitting. And then let's slowly make our way to our hands and knees. Come into tabletop pose. When you get into tabletop pose, let's do just a few shifts forward and back to open up through the wrists. And if you do have any wrist sensitivities, you can come onto your forearms. You can stack blocks if you have them, or books underneath your forearms to give you a little bit more height. Keep drawing the shoulders back and away from the ears. And then let's come to neutral tabletop pose and go a little right and left. Keep engaging through the core, so maintaining that neutral position in the spine. And then let's find a circular pattern with the upper half of the body, circling over the feet of your table, and then change the direction of your circles. Let's come back to neutral position. Let's widen the knees and make our way back into child's pose. So widen the knees, draw the big toes to touch, and draw the hips back down towards the heels. Take one rounded breath here. Remember, child's pose is a pose of rest. Come into it at any time that you need. And then as you're ready, let's slowly come back to our tabletop position. You can draw the knees more hip bone distance apart. Let's walk the hands about one hand length forward, coming into modified plank pose. So really tightening up through the core, and then we'll stack the shoulders over the wrists. Have a soft bend in those elbows. Notice if the elbows are flaring out to the side. Try to point them back behind you. And then maybe keeping the hips just a little bit lower than the height of the shoulders, and try to find neutral position in the spine. Really feel the squeeze of the belly. Take an inhale and then exhale. Draw those hips back. We're not coming fully into child's pose. Keep those knees where they are. Inhale, draw it forward. As soon as you start to lift those hips, start to squeeze through the belly to maintain that neutral position in the spine as the shoulders draw forward, maybe stacking over the wrists. And then exhale, draw it back. And then one more time, remember to modify or even skip if it doesn't feel good, especially if you have any wrist concerns. And then slowly release it down. And then from here, staying relatively low, we'll slither forward onto our bellies as carefully, as safely as you can. And then once you get there, let's release the rib cage and chest down, and then extend those arms forward. And you can have a little bit of lift in the chest, just depend on how you feel, how the back feels. And then let's start to separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips. Press the tops of the feet into the mat, coming into a version of our swimming. So if you'd like, you can rest your forehead on a block or a pillow, rest the head down. If it feels okay, you can even keep the head a little bit lifted. It's your choice. Start to feel the squeeze of the belly. So protect that neutral position of the spine. And let's lift the right leg and the left arm just a few inches off of the mat. So remember, not looking for height. And then let's slowly release it on down. Over to the other side, left leg and right arm. So opposite leg to arm. And then release it down. Let's move with the breath. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Exhale, release. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Moving side to side. Exhale, release. Let's move just a few more times on your rhythm of breath. Remember, not looking for height, just looking for the engagement of the muscles along the back of the body. You'll feel work in the shoulders, the upper back, the buttocks, the legs, a little bit of the lower back. But make sure that you're engaging through the front part of the core so we don't overarch through the back of the body. One more time on each side. And then let's release down. Stack the palms underneath your forehead and release. Let's bend those knees and start to sway those lower legs left and right, or in a circular pattern if that feels good. And then let's release those legs back down. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Engage through the belly. Press your pubic bone into the mat. That helps to preserve the length of the spine so we don't overarch through the lower back. And then let's start to draw the hands alongside the ribs for Cobra Pose. Let's draw the shoulders back towards those hips. Elbows start to draw in towards the side of the body. And then on the inhale, let's press into the hands, almost as if we're drawing our hands back towards the feet, and use that to initiate to get a little lift for the chest away from the mat. And then let's slowly release it down. So it could be a baby cobra pose. The height of the cobra is up to you. Inhale is to lift. Think of length. And then exhale, release back down. Let's move a few more on the rhythm of your breath. So we're thinking of lengthening through the spine, so we're not overarching or kind of kinking the spine in any particular point. Just getting a nice, smooth and easy curve as we lift last time. And then release. And then go ahead and slide your hands back underneath your forehead and just take a moment here. And then from here, we'll lift the head. Let's come into our Sphinx Pose. So you can draw the elbows a tiny bit forward of the shoulders. Have those elbows at least shoulder width distance apart. Draw the shoulders back and then press into the hands. Similar to when we started the class, we're pressing into the hands to get the weight back. And then lift your navel a little bit off of the mat so you can lengthen out through the spine. And then let's drop the chin down towards the chest. Nice stretch along the back of the neck. If you'd like, you can even draw the chin a little bit over to your right shoulder. So we're energizing, we're still strong on the body, even though we're getting a stretch to the neck. If you did draw your chin over to one side, let's draw it over to the other. And then draw your head back to center. And then slowly release the rib cage down just enough so you can draw the hands alongside the body. We're going to peel ourselves off of the mat. So we'll slowly peel ourselves up. Come back through tabletop pose. And let's find a cat pose. Really stretch out the back of the body. If it feels good to kind of wiggle those hips, or find a little kind of twist in the hips, you can. Just stretching out the back of the body. You can relax the head down if that feels good. And then let's come back to neutral tabletop pose, coming into our inversion. So we'll take some time here to come into your inversion of choice, and feel free to skip if it doesn't feel like a good idea for today. And then take a few rounds of breath, however many feels good. Take a child's pose and then come back. I'll give you 2 options for your inversion, but know that child's pose is always an option. So option 1 is puppy pose, hips stay over the knees. We'll walk those hands forward. As far as is comfortable, draw the shoulders back towards those hips. Think of lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the sides of the neck. It's up to you. If you want more of an active puppy pose, you'll stay here. More relaxed puppy pose, you can release the forearms, elbows down. Try to get those elbows more forward of the shoulders, and then start to release the chest down any amount to a comfortable point. Still thinking about drawing those shoulders back towards those hips so we're not squinching up through the neck. This is puppy pose. For downward facing dog, starting from our tabletop pose, walk those hands a little bit, a few inches forward of the shoulders. Same thing, draw the shoulders back. Make sure the pointy parts of the elbows aren't flaring out to the side. Draw them in so the pointy parts start to point back behind you. And then thinking of all that length in the spine, we'll curl the toes under. We'll draw the weight back towards the back of the mat as you slowly lift up, kind of unravel into your downward facing dog. Have a bend in those knees as much as you need. All 10 toes pointing forward. Same thing that we did at the beginning of our practice in that seated position when we were drawing our hands forward and then pressing the weight back into our bottom. So think about that. So we're pressing the weight back into our bottom, and you're staying here for as long as feels good. Making sure that the position of the shoulders is away from the ears, the armpits start to kind of wrap underneath your body, pointing more towards the center line of your body and not out to the side. And then the ears are just in line with the arms. So up to you for however long you'd like to stay in your inversions. Maybe pass through a child's pose in between. So if you'd like to go ahead and take another one, you can. I'm going to take another moment in child's pose. And then as you're ready, let's slowly make our way to a forward fold at the top of the mat. I'm going to pass through downward facing dog one more time. Maybe a little pedal through the legs if that feels good. Then I'm going to slowly start to walk forward, but come into a forward fold at the top of the mat in the most comfortable and safe way for your body. And when you get there, separate those feet a little bit wider than hips, bend those knees, engage strongly through the core. Let's walk our hands up our body to slowly fix our clothes and arrive into mountain pose. And when you get there, let's circle those arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And then one more time, deep breath in to lift. Deep breath out, hands to the heart. Let's come into a half sun salute. And we'll start with our flow for today. Inhale, arms out or forward and up, depending on your space. And then exhale, soft bend in the knees, dive it into your forward fold. Maybe you're keeping your hands onto the thighs for support if you need, or maybe you're staying higher or releasing lower, depending on your body. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, back into your fold. Let's rise all the way up with a strong flat back. Remember to bend those knees as much as you need to. Draw the arms up and then hands to the heart. Inhale, arms out or forward and up. Exhale into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release. Let's rise on up. Strong flat back, or you can roll up the spine as long as you're bending those knees and engaging through the core, walking your hands up the body. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's step that left foot back, come into warrior one base. So left toes ankle to the outside top corner of the mat, bend the right knee, stack it atop the ankle, track it towards the center of the toes, freeze it there, and then strong in that left leg, strong in the left ankle and left foot too. So feel those areas engage to preserve or to make sure that the leg is in that proper position. Start to engage through the core. And then if you'd like, you can add the arms forward or forward and up, pull the shoulders down. Take an inhale. As you exhale, let's start to straighten that front leg and draw those arms back behind us, back and up if that feels good or wherever it feels good to your body. Inhale. So we're pressing into the right heel, so much so that you can even lift those front toes. Bend that front knee, come back to warrior one, and then exhale, straighten the right leg. Shoulders stay over the hips the whole time. Arms drop back. One more time, inhale. You'll feel a greater stretch along the back of the back leg. And then exhale, straighten, open up through the chest. And then let's come back to our warrior one. Move those shoulders down. Take an inhale. And then exhale, we'll slowly step it forward. Remember the times that we step forward, really nice opportunity to practice our balance. So feel free to take that time to do so. Let's go over to the other side. So right foot, or the opposite foot, steps back. Let's have our front knee start to bend. So it's stacked, tracked, and then freeze it there. Back toes are angled to the outside of the top corner of the mat, of that side. And then strong in that back ankle, back leg, back foot. And then when you're ready, engage through the core, add the arms, find warrior one. Take a moment here. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, let's straighten that front leg. Draw those arms back, maybe back and up, whatever feels good on the shoulders. Inhale to bend the front knee, come back to warrior one. And then exhale, straighten the front leg, draw the arms back. Inhale, bend, front knee. Exhale, straighten. Let's inhale, come back to warrior one. Relax those shoulders down. Feel the power of this pose. So feel all the energy that you can put into this pose. And then let's release arms down slowly. Step it to the top of the mat, almost like you're moving in super slow motion. And then from here, let's separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, soft bend in the knees. Dive it into a supported forward fold. So maybe it's forearms onto the thighs. If it is okay on your body to go lower, you can, as long as your hands or your arms are resting on something. Feel a stretch along the back of the body. If it feels good to release the head, go ahead and release it down. And then soft bend in those knees, engage strongly through the front core muscles so that we are supporting the spine as we walk our hands up our legs and arrive back into mountain pose. Let's inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's add a little touch of balance challenge. Let's keep the right foot where it is. Step the left foot back. Come into high crescent pose. So all 10 toes pointing forward as best as you can. And then it's up to you, the depth of your high crescent. More challenging, step that back foot a little bit further back. So maybe your back heel is even lifted off of the mat. And then front knee is bent, stack, track, and freeze it. Make sure your feet are at least hip bone distance apart or a little bit wider if you need more support for the balance. And then let's draw those arms forward or forward and up. So we're not actively lifting that back heel up, we're melting it down. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, so same thing we did with warrior one, we'll draw those arms back and straighten the right leg or the front leg. And then inhale back to high crescent pose. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, high crescent. Last time, exhale, straighten. Inhale, high crescent. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, transfer the weight, maybe a little lift or keep the toes down. And then stand up tall at the top of the mat. Let's move right over to the other side. Your right foot steps back at a distance that feels challenging, but still comfortable if you'd like more of a challenging practice. Start to bend the left knee, stack, track, and freeze it. All 10 toes pointing as forward as you can. Separate those feet at hip bone distance apart. Tighten up through the core. And then when you're ready, as neutral position the spine as you can. Find your balance here first. Take an inhale. And then exhale, straighten through that front leg. Draw the arms back behind you. Inhale, high crescent, pressing into the left heel. Exhale, straighten it up. Arms back. Inhale, high crescent. And then exhale, draw it back. Inhale, back to high crescent. Move those shoulders down. And then let's start to transfer the weight into that front leg. Feel the wiggles of the ankles. And then let's place that foot down. Inhale, let's circle those arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's come into just an easy side bend. So separate your feet about hip bone distance apart. Circle I'll mirror you, your right arm out and up. And then exhale, side bend. If the shoulder feels good to continue to circle it in front of you, go ahead and do so. But always modify if you need to. Inhale, opposite arm lifts. Exhale, side bend. One more time on each side. Just getting a nice stretch. Last time. Inhale, both arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Find your feet in your chair pose feet. I'm going to walk back to the top of the mat. And then when you're ready, let's come into chair pose. Bend those knees. Draw your bottom back, hinge forward at the hips, but keep the chest lifted. Maybe arms are extending forward or a little bit up. Squeeze through the muscles of the legs, of your bottom. Squeeze through that lower belly muscle just to make sure that we're not overarching through the spine. So kind of draw the rib cage and the front belly in. Remember, the depth of your chair is up to you. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, let's fold forward. So maybe it's just the hands are onto the thighs. And then inhale, let's come up higher than halfway. Glide the hands onto your right thigh, strong flat back, long spine. And then next exhale, let's step the left foot back, warrior one base. Bend the right knee to stack, track, and freeze it there. And then you can press into the hands to upright the spine. Maybe lift the arms if that feels good. Take an inhale in warrior one. And then exhale, humble warrior. So you can stay relatively high in humble warrior, drawing those arms back behind you. Tighten up through the core. Flat back. If it is okay to go lower and you can use your hands for a little support, you can bow a little bit forward. If you are bowing forward and arms are drawing back and up, really tighten up through the core to protect that lower back. And then let's rise back up. Warrior one. And then slowly step it back forward. Find your feet in your chair pose feet. And then when you're ready, let's inhale, come back into chair. And then exhale, dive it down. Forward fold. Inhale, more than halfway lifts. Find that strong flat back, really strong in the core. Hands on the left thigh. And then step the right foot back and adjust the feet as you see fit. Warrior one base. Left knee stack, tracks, and freeze it there. And then press your way up. Find warrior one. Take a moment here. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, your humble warrior. So maybe it's just halfway to humble, keeping that strong flat back. Maybe you're going a little bit deeper, engaging strongly through the core. Maybe you're even using your hands onto the thigh for a little bit of support. So find what works best for your body for today. And then let's slowly draw ourselves back up. Warrior one. And then step it forward, taking that moment to balance. And find yourself back into mountain pose and separate the feet a little bit wider than the hips. Take a moment here. Feel the strength of the pose. Feel the length of this pose. Inhale, arms up. And then exhale, soft bend the knees, supported forward fold. So maybe forearms are onto the thighs, or you're reaching your arms down the legs, looking for a nice stretch for that lower back. And then while you're here, let's start to bend those knees, almost coming into a squat. Make sure the knees don't go past the toes. And if you can even kind of relax the upper half of the body over the thighs, or maybe reach down towards the floor. Start to feel some energy build in the legs. And of course, if you'd prefer to just stay in that supported forward fold, you can. And then let's come out by drawing the hands onto the thighs, elbows in, engaging through the belly, and we'll press into our hands to slowly roll it on up. And let's draw the arms up. And then hands to the heart. I'm going to turn around to face you, and let's separate our feet so it's nice and wide, so we can start to open up through the inner legs. And we'll first start with our hands just lightly on the hips, and we'll start with a little hip sway side to side. So if you do have any hip concerns, or have had any surgeries, and this doesn't even sound like a good idea, feel free to skip and just stay strong in your kind of wide leg mountain pose. But if it feels good to start to circle those hips a little bit, this is just exploratory, so nothing too deep, just seeing how the hips are doing today, but feel free to modify. And if you did circle, change the direction of your circle. This kind of helps to open things up a little bit more. Let's come into neutral and start to draw those heels in, bend those knees. Let's come into temple pose. So right now we have the chest lifted with the shoulders stacked over the hips, and the tailbone is melting down to lengthen the lower part of the spine. And then hands are just kind of anywhere to assist you. We'll take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, press on up. Let's widen those heels. So you're pivoting on the balls of the feet, so all 10 toes point forward. Inhale to lift. Exhale, soft bend in the knees. Let's come just about halfway down. And you can even place your hands on the thighs for a little bit more support. Strong, flat back. And then let's slowly rise on up. Bend those knees, draw the heels in. Dip down into your temple pose. Make sure those knees are opening to the center of the toes. They don't go past the ankles. And then let's stand up tall. Pivot on the balls of the feet so all 10 toes point forward, and then hinge forward any amount where you can still maintain a strong flat back. Notice if you're really pressing your bottom back behind you, try to at least even out the weight between the balls of the feet and the heels. And then we'll upright. One last time, temple pose. And then straighten up, draw those heels out, all 10 toes pointing forward, and then little fold forward, floating fold forward. And then let's come back up. Let's step those feet a little bit closer together so you can shake it out. Let's take a little break to come into our tree pose. So you find yourselves in mountain pose. Have your standing leg really strong. Spread those toes wide. And let's lift the opposite heel. Turn it out just enough so you can place the heel on the inside of the ankle. Keep your hip bones pointing forward. And maybe you're staying here, or maybe you're sliding the foot a little bit higher. But make sure you are feeling a little bit challenged, but feel safe that you won't fall out of the pose. If you do lose your balance, you can always place a foot down. Take a moment here. Find your Ujjayi breath. And then let's slowly release it down over to the other side. So make sure that standing leg is very strong. All toes of that standing foot point forward. Remember to engage through even a little bit of the arch of the foot and the ankle. And then let's come over to the other side. Lifting that foot as high as is comfortable, feeling the energy of that foot press into the inner leg, and the inner leg pressing back into that foot. So really energizing through the body. Find your Ujjayi breath. Maybe fixing your gaze on a single point. And then go ahead and release. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's come back to that wide leg stance. And then from this wide leg stance, let's come into our warrior two. So lift, I'll mirror you your right heel, turn the right toes to point out to the side, heel to arch alignment, and then draw those back toes in so the back foot mirrors the angle of the hips. And then when you're ready, let's open up to warrior two. Melt the shoulders down. Breathe here. Really tighten that back leg. Let's flip or reverse our warrior. Reach it up, nice easy stretch, still bending into that front knee, pressing into that front heel, making sure that front heel is right under the knee and the knee is right over the heel. Let's come back to center, little shift forward, side angle pose. Maybe this top arm just stays where it is, or maybe you're sweeping it up along the ear, whatever feels good on the shoulders. Breathing. And then sweep that arm back. It's upright, come back to warrior two, come back to this neutral position. And let's move over to the other side. Lift left heel, turn left toes, left knee to the left, heel to arch alignment, draw that back foot to mimic the angle of the hips, and then start to find your pose. And breathing here. So we'll take a moment. Maybe just setting your sights on a single point so you can have your focus and concentration into that point. Feel all the muscles working for the body. Let's come into reverse warrior. Flip your front palm. Nice easy side bend. Strong through that back leg. And then come back to center for side angle pose, that little shift. Forearm onto the thigh. Maybe this arm just stays parallel and drifting back behind you, or maybe you're sweeping it up and over the ear, whatever feels good for your shoulder. So make sure those shoulder joints are happy. Feel those hips come underneath you so that front thigh stays parallel to the long edge of the mat. And then let's draw arm back to where it was. Press back to warrior two. Straighten all 10 toes pointing forward, hands onto the hips. Take an inhale. Think of lengthening. Then as you exhale, soft bend in the knees, supported wide leg forward fold. Forearms onto the thighs, or if it is okay to reach lower, only if it's safe for your body to do so, go ahead and find your way there. And then as you're ready, soft bend in those knees, hands on the thighs, engage strongly through your core muscles, elbows in. Let's slowly roll up the spine. And then one more standing pose. Let's come into triangle. So let's lift your right heel, turn the right toes out to the right knee out to the right. Similar to warrior two base, but we will keep both legs straight, and you can shorten up the stance if you need to. And then let's extend those arms out, hips draw back as your front arm reaches. Get lots of length in the sideways, and when you can no longer get that length, just change the position of the arm. Shoulders move down, maybe the back of the hand, of that bottom hand into that inner leg, and then open up through the chest. Breathe here. Lots of work. So keep engaging through this top sideways. That'll help just to keep the spine in its good alignment and we're not side bending too much. And then as you're ready, start to bend through that front knee. Come back, warrior two. Let's inhale, reverse. And then exhale, warrior two. Relax those arms down. All 10 toes pointing forward. Let's move over to the other side. Externally rotate at the hip. So the left toes point out to the left, heel to arch alignment, back foot comes in a little bit, both legs straight and engaging through those legs. Extend those arms out, hips draw back as we reach as far forward and up as we can. Lots of openness for this bottom sideways. And then let's keep that openness as we just change the position of the arms. Melt the shoulders down, engage through this top sideways. So you should even feel your muscles working there. And breathing here and start to open up through the chest. As deep of a pose as feels good. There's a lot of work in this pose, a lot of stretching in this pose, and a little bit of balance too. One last round of breath in triangle. And then as you're ready, bend through that front knee, come back, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. And then exhale, warrior two. Straighten up, hands onto the hips, all 10 toes pointing forward. Take an inhale. As you exhale, soft bend in the knees. One more wide leg forward fold of choice. If it feels good to get a little sway right and left, you can. A little bit more opening for the hips if that feels good. And then start to bend those knees. Engage strongly through the belly. Hands slide onto the thighs, elbows in. Let's slow roll it. Up the spine, head coming up last. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Start to step those feet together. Let's come back to the top of the mat if you're not already there. Separate your feet wider than your hips, either supported forward fold or you're working on your yogi squat. Finding the depth that works best for your body, making sure the joints are happy. So if you aren't comfortable coming all the way to a low squat, you can stay a little bit higher, working on the strength. So up to you. And then whatever manner is safe and comfortable for you to release onto your bottom, let's go ahead and make our way there. And then grab your belt or your strap, maybe your pillow too, just slide it so that when we come onto our backs, it is already there for us. And then let's slowly roll onto our back. And let's grab our belt. Push that a little bit further away. Get a nice stretch for the back of the legs. So I just have a normal belt that I unbuckled. And let's strap the ball of the right foot and reach that right leg up. And then relax the shoulders down. So just depending on the length of the belt, see if you can really relax those shoulders down and breathe here. Feel a nice opening for the back of that right leg. Make sure those right toes are pointing straight up over the head. One last round of breath here. And then let's slowly start to bend the knee, release the strap. Cross the ankle over the thigh above the knee. And remember, we want to make sure that the knee joint is happy. So if it doesn't feel so good, feel free to skip. And then from here, we're first going to gently draw the right inner leg away from us, trying to get the right knee and the right ankle to be in line. So you'll feel just a stretching, easy, gentle stretching sensation. Breathing here. And then let's release. Let's cross the right thigh over the left. And you can use your strap for this. You can strap underneath the legs and slowly draw the leg shape towards you. You can flex through the feet and then separate the feet as wide apart as you can. So you'll feel a stretch, mild sensation in that right hip. And then go ahead and release it on down. Set both feet back onto your mat. Let's move over to the other side. Hug that left knee in, strap the ball of the foot, extend it up, and find a nice easy stretch here. Keep those toes, left toes pointing up over the head. Remember just to find a mild sensation of a stretch that works best for your body. Nice. And then when you're ready, let's slowly start to bend the knee, remove the strap, cross the ankle over the left thigh, right above the knee, flex to the left foot, and we'll gently guide that left knee to be in line with the left ankle by pressing into the inner thigh, just gently guiding it. So feeling this kind of opening in the left hip area. Taking another round or two of breath here. And then let's slowly release. Cross the left thigh over the right. You can use your strap underneath the legs and then draw the leg shape towards you, flexing through both feet and separating the feet as wide apart from each other as you can comfortably. And then as you're ready, let's slowly release those feet down, release the strap. Separate your feet as wide as the mat, and let's just rest the knees against each other and take a moment here. And then let's draw the arms either in a T shape, a cactus shape, or maybe even interlacing the fingers underneath the head. And with this openness of the chest, then you can start to just gently sway the knees right and left, finding an easy twist. If it feels good to stay on one side for a few rounds of breath, you can. Enjoying that stretch along the front of the thigh and the hip flexor. Or if it feels good to move in more of a dynamic way, side to side with kind of no pauses, you can do that as well. As long as you feel even on both sides and just do what feels good to your body. And then let's draw those knees back to rest against each other. Release the hands out from underneath and draw those arms down by the sides. And let's grab our pillow or your block, whatever you have handy, and start to find those feet into bridge pose. So we'll come into a supported bridge and shoulder stand if you'd like to add that in. So let's lift the hips, slide the pillow or block underneath your sacrum, that flat part right above the tailbone, and then gently release it down. So if you are using a block, just make sure you don't feel any hard edges of the block. And maybe you're going to stay here, just a supported, gentle back bend. If you want to come into your shoulder stand, you can start by drawing one knee in, followed by the other one, and then extend the legs up to the ceiling. With a pillow, it's nice to get that extra added support for the lower back. And then when you come here, we'll take a few rounds of breath, of our Ujjayi breath. And if you'd like more of an active supported shoulder stand, you can find any movements or any wiggles, whatever feels good. Or you can just come into stillness and maybe close the eyes and take a moment here. So in our supported shoulder stand, we want the least amount of energy. So if you do feel that your core is starting to work hard or it's starting to shake a little, draw the legs a little bit closer towards you so we don't have to use so much core muscle. And just take one more round of breath here. And then let's slowly start to bend those knees. Draw them in one at a time. Release the feet onto the mat. Lift your bottom off of your block or pillow and slide that pillow off to the side. Roll it down the spine. Let's start to draw the knees in towards the chest, give them a squeeze, and let's come into happy baby pose. So either hands behind the thighs or peace fingers around the big toes, whatever is most comfortable. Separate those feet wider than the shoulders. Knees start to draw down towards the outer shoulders, feeling a nice stretch along the lower back, the buttocks, underneath the legs. And if you'd like to add any other little movement or any more little stretches, you can. It's kind of whatever feels good to relax the body a little bit more before we come into our final pose of Shavasana. And then as you're ready, let's release. Feet down onto the mat. And before we drop into our final pose, let's take our hands and lift the head off of the mat and feel just a gentle pull of the head away from the body so you feel some length along the back of the neck. And then slowly release it down. Make sure that the neck is in neutral position, so it's about a fist width distance between the chin and the chest, and the eyes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And then relax the arms down by the sides, palms facing up, coming into our final pose of Shavasana. You're welcome to keep the legs bent and resting against each other if you have any concerns with the lower back. But if the lower back feels good, you can extend those legs long, separate the feet wider than the hips, and allow the feet to just kind of flop open. And in our final pose of Shavasana, we release any conscious way of breathing. So release your Ujjayi breath, breathe in a way that is most natural and comfortable to you. Let's first take one more inhale together. Exhale out the mouth. And then I will be playing wind chimes during your final pose of Shavasana. So enjoy these next few minutes. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Sense the movement into your fingers, into your toes. On the next inhale, you can stretch the arms up to the ceiling or over your head. As you exhale, release the arms back down by the sides. And then let's slowly roll over onto one side, coming into Fetal Pose. And then as you're ready, slowly press your way up to a comfortable seat, head coming up last. Let's draw the palms of the hands together right on top of our heart to take a moment to feel gratitude to yourself for coming to your practice, or gratitude for anything else in your life. Then let's draw the palms of the hands together. Recall that intention or dedication you set at the beginning of your practice. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. As always, it is a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day and week, and we'll see you next time.